Good morning, freedom fighters. It is 11:12 a.m. Eastern Time, March 17th, 2024. You are looking at live images from Wendy.com. We're on infrared. You can already see heavy frequency waves. We're going to go over top of West Virginia and more. I'm going to show you how these storms are being lit up from this time from the east. You can see the laser lines. There were some unusual lines, and again in the Gulf of Mexico. Not sure to call the lines that is distinct here. They're not H.A.R.P anymore. This is H.A.R.P. The other stuff's lasers. That's H.A.R.P there. Switch it to daytime. We'll start up here with these frequencies before we go to the storm. This is in the northeast over Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia. We're going to look at the last 2 hours. You can actually see it turn on. You can really see it intensify. I'm going to bump it up here a little bit. But you can see all the different kinds of ripples. It's from different machines, different satellites, different machineries working on the ground, from radar systems to your 5G H.A.R.P cell phone towers. Take a look at your towers. They're not all the same. Some has 0 cell phone devices on them. It's not for us. It's not cell phones. I'm going to pause and I'm going to go down to Georgia where they have the laser lines lighting up the storms in Louisiana. Stand by. Undeniable that's some kind of machine working here. That's not gravity waves. I'm just going to let it sit there one more second there. Actually, it's over the state of Alabama, parts of Florida, where you can see these laser lines lighting off the storms over Louisiana, where my friends and family lives. I have friends and family all over the United States. I'm going to pause on those lines. That's very unusual what you're seeing there. If you haven't noticed it yet, I'm going to zoom in on it. This is definitely connected to the storm. Individual lines are not formed in nature. Uniform lines are not natural. I can see at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Seems like it's a dozen almost every time. And it's all connected to these lightning storms that's going on. Heavy ripples in this section. I believe there's way more to these lasers than even what I can see. One reason I pick up on such small details is because I've been watching bottom machines on a shrimp boat where I had to watch for rocks. And it's very minute sometimes, the rocks would be, but I had to save my gear. Very heavy chemtrail today off the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. This is at 9 o'clock this morning. I'm going to bump it back a hair more just so we can see a little bit farther back in time. Just at the crack of daylight, way before daylight, they started spraying. You can already see the trails. We'll see if infrared shows them better. Hundreds of trails probably already over these states, and it stretches right on out into the Gulf, which it will go to overseas to our friends over in England and Europe areas, all those other countries. Heavy chemtrailing this morning at daybreak. Undeniable. This is not common air traffic. This is not flight paths. This is toxic spraying of our country. Manipulate our skies and our weather. Also poisoning our lands and our waters. We must fight this somehow. Our politicians has no say in this. The UN controls all this. Our politicians have 0 say. Ron DeSantis knows about this. He will be destroyed if he says anything. Our government's not run by the people. Our government was supposed to be for the people, by the people. That hasn't happened since the Civil War. That's been destroyed. These storms out in the Atlantic Ocean just form out of nothing. This looks more like the ships to me that they pump it out with. Now look, when you see these forest fires out in the ocean, that ain't forest fires. That's them super tankers pumping that out. They're out in the Pacific Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico pumping this material out. You can see how they just shut it off and it's over. They're doing it with machineries, the same ones I showed you from NASA in Mississippi. That was just testing grounds for this machinery. I can show you on Ship Tracker. There's hundreds of ships out here. You can't even tell which one's doing it. There's so many, but there's some that's obviously sitting still. That's chemtrail material. Stand by. I'm going to look for some more stuff here. Stand by. Okay, warriors, we've jumped the pond. We're across the Atlantic Ocean, 3,000 miles. We're looking at the shores of Portugal, Morocco, or however you say that, the shores of Africa. You're going to have to help me on the words there. But very heavy chemtrail in here at daybreak. First time I've seen it in Africa itself, and I've seen photos. But very heavy chemtrail offshore here. Obviously, heavy chemtrail. And I don't know how many aircraft they normally have across these areas. In Alaska, I watched them put out the sun in 3 hours in a place that we do not have much aircraft at all at any time. You don't ever see any aircraft unless they're spraying us. But very distinct lines of chemtrail activity, toxic chemtrail activity. These lunatics has either not thought far enough ahead to realize this material they're spraying is poisoning every single creature on this planet, including us, or they are just so evil they don't care. Psychopaths don't care if they kill themselves. I don't know if y'all realize that. They know they're going to die in a few years anyhow. You know what I mean? You never know who's controlling everything. They're completely insane. Heavy chemtrailing over Spain today. Distinct. Oh, what is that? Very distinct. Some kind of machine ripples. All right, let me look for some more stuff for y'all. You can just see the machines working and all kinds of different stuff. That looks funny to me. Stand by for a sec. Okay, freedom fighters, we are looking at the last 12 hours from last night where I left off, where they lit the fires over the border in Mexico. Like, lit the fires. I mean, lit the storms. It's like lighting fires. Like, all that lightning so hot. Very unusual storm last night. Look at the north side of it. Look how it just split off there. That was unusual how they pushed it. And I just showed you earlier the lightning laser devices from the north side and how they lit it from the south side. It's incredible, this technology. But I want to show you some more of the frequency waves over the Gulf I just seen go by there. And the frequency waves from last night. This is where I left off last night. You can see just a couple lines here, but all the way across here I can kind of see the laser lines, but this is as far as back I can go. You can kind of see a little bit of it, but this is where I left off last night in the previous video. That looks weird to me too. Look how frequency based that is. I don't know if they got a machine right there or what. Your next-red radar systems control a lot of this madness. Just gonna watch it as it crosses Texas. It does something funny there. Kind of splits off here for some reason. You can actually see the like a double line, maybe a pulse or something. I don't know. This looks weird to me. See how it breaks apart there? Something happened there. They did something different. Turned a different machine on.